We're now going to look at the very last competency in the section of co-creating the relationship. This competency is number 5, and it is maintains presence. So the definition of this is that the coach is fully conscious and present with the client, employing a style that is open, flexible, grounded, and confident. This is presence. You might think of it as like executive presence or something like that. But the reality is, with a coach who embodies who a coach is, how a coach believes, how a coach sees and engages with others, there's a presence that you bring in with you. I've had organizational clients, teams tell me things like, Sherry, it's not the same when you're not here. When you're in the room, things are different. Even when you don't say anything, your presence brings a change. When you are here, it feels like a safe space. That's the type of presence that you want to have with your clients. Might be organizational clients, and it might be individuals. And let me tell you something. This is a skill that you need to learn, and you need to learn to build this relationship with a client very quickly. And it's this coaching presence that enables that. When you come in and you embody a coach, there is this safe space that just comes out and surrounds the space, surrounds the client, surrounds you. And it brings the client, even a brand new client who is just meeting you for the first time, it brings them into a place where they feel like, I'm home, or I'm safe, or I'm held. And that ability to do that is what causes clients to want to work with you. You should actually see this happening outside of the coaching session. When you're engaging with other humans, are you creating a space where they feel safe and seen and honored and respected? Are you showing up as confident, not arrogant, but confident? Are you showing up fully present? When you're having conversations with people, do they know that you're all in? Do they know that they've got your full attention? Do they know that you're listening and that you hear? And are you open? Are you flexible? Or do you have to have everything your way, or everything the way it's always been, and not being willing to be influenced? So when you show up as a coach, you're open, you're flexible, and you're grounded. Grounded is really important, because it's that grounding that brings that peace into the room. It's the grounding that brings that sense of wisdom into the space. It's that grounding that brings in the safety. And people can tell when you were grounded and confident. So as we move into the markers for this, the first marker is that the coach remains focused on the client and on what the client's saying and what's happening with the client. Observant, so that they hear and see and feel and recognize what's happening with the client. Empathetic and responsive. And so I want to talk a minute about this responsive. Responsive means that when the client is speaking, the coach is listening. And the questions that you ask are in response to what the client is saying. The client shouldn't be forced into a position of responding to the coach's questions. The client is leading and the coach is their partner. And when the client says something, the coach responds to what they said. The coaching conversation might start off with the coach asking a question, and it's usually something like, what do you want to focus on today? What that is opening the door and telling the client, come on in, talk to me. And when the client does that, immediately from that point on, everything else is the coach responding to the client. The coach opens the door, the client walks in, they say something, the coach listens and responds to what the client said and asks a question often, most of the time. And then the client says something. And then the coach responds and asks the question. You'll know you're responding to the client when you are utilizing the client's words, you're utilizing the client's context, when you are asking questions that are in the flow of what the client says. You'll know that the client is following you when you make sharp left turns and sharp right turns, and the client is talking about something. Maybe they just told you they had a really rough week, and you say something like, and how are you going to measure success today? That is not responsive. Right? I had a really rough week. Respond to that. You can still bring the session along the journey, but don't just like, here I am, back to business. Yep, I heard you say something, but I've got to get through this coaching arc, right? Respond. What's it like to be in that? What's the impact of that in this moment? Right? Then go to where is appropriate. All in that, you're still responsible for holding that coaching process. So there's an art to it. There's an art to hearing the client, being responsive to the client, and holding the process so that the client gets where they want to be in the time that you have together.